Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If this is your first visit to WW Designs, it is lovely to have you here. My name is Nikki and I live in Brisbane, Australia. I want to say a very big thank you to Rachel and Bella Crafts for inviting me to participate in this month-long challenge where we're letting you know it's okay, you do not have to reinvent the wheel to be creative. Now, we have been given two beautiful kits to work with. One of them is from Rachel and Bella Crafts. One of them is from Line Dot Arrow. And I will not go into the big spiel about it all because I'm pretty sure you've heard it all because I'm letter O. So we've had a few of these go through. But down in the description box is all the information of where you can get these kits, all the other fabulous participants and everything else that you need to know. It's down there. So go and have a sticky beak. So I haven't printed out both kits in their entirety. My letter is O and we are going to make some oversized journal cards. And these are the pages that I have picked. They are absolutely stunning. And I've gone with two sort of different color tones and ideas. So this one here is pinks and blues with a bit of green and these stunning flowers. And then the other one is definitely a little bit more vintage, but absolutely beautiful as well. So I will be making two oversized journal cards and they're both going to have a little bit of a different twist to them. Now, my inspiration for these came from me watching all these YouTube videos one day, trying to decide what I was going to do in this challenge. And I came across a fabulous video from Shabby Dabby Doodah, who is honestly one of the queens of creating very pretty things with paper, including masterboards and deco adding to them. So that's the link to the video that was my light bulb moment will be also down in the description box. Now, to make my cards, I needed some idea of what size I want my oversized journal cards to be. And I decided a while ago, I made this gorgeous botanical journal. And I think the prints and everything here, look at this, like things like this. This is a perfect match, so I think I will use this as my guide to help me decide what size we need to do. Now, I've just grabbed a couple of things from my stash to help me get started. I have some coffee dyed paper and also some pale pink paper that has been dipped in coffee just to soften the colours a little bit. And the masterboard I will be creating on a 12 by 12 piece that I had in my stash. I've gone for something that's not so thick so that by the time I've done all my collaging and everything, they're not going to be, too chunky. And a quick tip, a lot of scrapbooking papers, especially the thinner ones, are white on the back. The better quality, thicker ones are often two-sided, but these ones are not. Now, if you want to do a simple page of coffee dyeing, you don't want to get all your paraphernalia out to do it, I just grab a little bit of coffee and one of those sponge brushes. Oh, I've just realised I didn't bring it out here. Anyway, they're a sponge with a handle, and I just gently paint coffee on there very quickly, leave it to dry, and it magically takes your paper from this to this. So that's a handy little hint for you if you want to get into vintage mode. You don't have to do the whole dip and bake and everything. It's a much quicker way of doing a quick coffee dye. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go off and do some prep work because honestly, watching people fussy cut is a little bit boring. And when I have done all that, I will be back and we will make some oversized journal cards. Right, so I have done lots of prep work because we were asked to keep these videos on the shorter side. So we have two masterboards. My golden rule for masterboards is to cut whatever pieces you want to use into rectangles. Some bigger, some smaller, longer, short, it makes no difference. And then simply glue things down. So I've made a little template here. I measured the size I would need to use in the journal that I want to make them for. And I have decided I like the tops of both of these. So I'm quickly going to snip these out. And that way we have 2 journal cards that will be the same size. And don't throw out your scraps. These make fabulous belly bands, journal cards, pockets, you name it. You can use them for anything you like. So quickly chop these up. And I don't worry about those tiny little scraps as a rule. But there we go. That's one done. And then the other one. Let's get that to fit. So we are going to make 2 journal cards today, lovely big oversized ones. The first one will be quite simple in design. It's a bit of gluing, and that's about all that is required. And then the second one is going to be a little bit more ornate, but we'll start with one at a time and see how we go. Now, one thing I do like on my journal cards, I do like rounded corners. But unfortunately, my corner rounder, chompy thing, decided to have a little fight with the floor the other day. So guess what? We're going to have to go old school here and cut our corners the old-fashioned way. So just in case you don't have a corner rounder, a small coin placed right up against each edge, and then just using a pair of scissors is a really easy way to round your corners. And also can be quite helpful on larger items. I do have another little tiny corner rounder, which is great for little things, but it's pretty hopeless for something bigger. So then we just grab our scissors and cut the corners out. And then what I will do later on, but I haven't got an eraser handy here, I will actually just get rid of whatever pencil marks is still left behind, because I got a bit carried away there. Now, what we are going to do with these journal cards, I have a giant stash that I could attack to make pretty things today, but I decided to try and show you what you can do if you just pick a really good kit to use. You don't have to have tons of things in your stash. So I will show you what I've done as we progress through, and I've tried to use everything I could. I've used from the kit. The only thing I did add, which I showed you at the beginning, is some coffee dyed paper, because I wanted to break down all the pattern a little bit, because I find that it gets a bit too much. But otherwise, everything else I've improvised and used what was in the kits. So it's a great way, especially if you're a newbie and you want to play and make pretty things, but you don't have the cash to go out and buy every new thing that you see. Sometimes you can just use your imagination a little bit and a pair of scissors, and you can make all sorts of fun things. So there we go. We now have rounded corners, and I do like that look so much better. Now, the one thing I did notice when I made these masterboards, when I got these printed at my local Officeworks, they did such a good job that the colours, even on this one, are so vibrant. So I really feel we need to tone it down a little bit. Otherwise, the flowers just will not pop enough. So we're going to do one at a time quickly. What I've done here, I'll just grab my favourite plate. I don't know if any of you, I don't use a paint palette most of the time. I have my favourite palette, I'll start again, Nick. My favourite plate, and I just keep adding layer after layer when I am doing some stenciling. And then I've grabbed this stencil that I purchased. This is from Kmart here in Australia. Not what I would call the best quality thing. It's actually made on cardboard, but it is quite thick. But I thought this leaf pattern was ideal for what I'm trying to achieve here. Now, I don't want really bold stenciling. All I'm trying to do is soften things up a bit. So I'm going to make sure that my little sponge here is on the drier side, because I want to add, can you see? I don't want it full coverage. I want the prettiness to still show through in parts, but I definitely just want to soften this look a little bit. So, and there, it's just slipped there, but that's fine. This is just a little bit. I don't want to do every single leaf either. What I'm trying to do is just around the top part, just soften some of this brightness just a little bit. We don't want to hide all the prettiness. That's not necessary. So there we go. Just a little bit. Let's see what this looks like when it's done. How does that look? Yep, that has helped a little bit. It's not, hang on, I might just put tiny, let's just line this up again. I might do a tiny bit more just here, because those flowers are really quite bright. There we go. So we haven't hidden all the goodness, just a little bit of it, but that might just help for what I'm trying to achieve here. Now the other one here, I don't think I want to do this with white, because this is sort of way more vintagey. So I think what we'll do is I'll put some white paint on here, and I'm going to add the tiniest bit of yellow ochre, just the tiniest little bit. There we go, because all I want to do is take the sharpness out of the white. So we'll just splodge that around a bit. We're going to end up with sort of off-white, creamy sort of colour, dabbing off as much as we can, and then we're going to simply do the same thing. I might have to actually do a little bit more on the other one. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how we go. Might have to get a little bit more heavy-handed with the white. But let's see. See, this colour's perfect, just for toning everything down a little bit. There we go. Let's see. That's helped a little bit. Maybe not quite as much as I would have liked, but I don't want to overdo it either. But I will do a little bit more white on this one. I don't think it's quite had the effect I want, so we'll pop some more white on here. Grab this again, and I'll just flip my little sponge over, line it up again, and we'll just add a little bit more just in this area here. And I know why. I'll show you why in a minute, why I have my eye set on those particular spots. There we go. Yep, that's a little bit better. We might leave it at that, and we'll see how we go. So I'll just move that out of the way. So here's our first one, and I will show you the things I have fussy cut that we're going to decorate this one with. So one of the sheets had this beautiful flowers on it. So we're going to glue that down. Then down in the corner, I've got some little leftover leaves. Actually, oh no, I'll cut that off when I've glued that down and round that corner, just for a little bit of darker contrast. I've also fussy cut out some of these beautiful bright yellow sunflowers that we're going to pop down there in that corner and just fill that space a little bit. And then I've got a couple of little deco pieces. So we might get these, we'll get the sunflowers and the leaves down first, because they're going underneath the main floral display. So, I mean, this doesn't have to be in any particular perfect place, so it doesn't matter. I don't have to measure or anything like that. The general consensus is that's where it's going. There we go. That's that one down. And this yellow is a lovely contrast against all these pretty pinks and blues, so I like that. There we go. We'll pop that one down there. And even my not so perfect fussy cutting worked out just fine, because the little bits I had left behind have blended in perfectly down the bottom there. Then we're going to put this green, dark green, down in the corner. I just want that for a bit of extra contrast down here. And I cut the corner square, but of course I need it rounded, but that's okay. We can fix that in a flash. We'll just trim this off to match. There we go. Now, let's stick that back down again. And then we will glue down the large piece. Now for this, because this is just printed on normal copy paper, I'm just using a glue stick. I find it works perfectly okay, and glue sticks don't make paper wrinkle, so that's why I like using them when I'm doing things with just, you know, thin paper. I find it's the most successful. Now my aim was to put that down there as far as I can, right down on the edge. There we go. Oh, look at those beautiful flowers. Aren't they just stunning? Now, I think my stenciling could have been a bit bolder, but look, I'm not going to worry. They do still look absolutely beautiful there. And then we have a few little finishing touches for this one. What I did was before I made my master boards, I cut out these little pieces that I wanted to use. So I thought we might put these three that I have here down the left-hand side, away from the floral arrangement. And I always like working with the rule of three if I can. Adding 3 bits of deco always looks great. I'm going to put this one down next. This is this is off the sheet. You get a whole sheet of these gorgeous labels. And I love labels that go over the edge, and then we'll cut that bit off. And then lucky last, I've got this little number. I also cut that out before I did my collaging. So here I've got deco to add to this card, and it all came from the kit. So I love how that looks. That's perfect. So we'll just trim off that. There we go. And then the last thing I did, just because I wanted something else up here, I got my die cut machine out. Now, if you are a newbie, one of the best tools you can ever have is a die cut machine. They are worth the investment because you can create anything with one of those, any shapes. You just slowly over the years collect some dies. And that's what I've done. I've now got quite a large stash, and it's a great way to use up your scraps. So I'll just gently apply some glue just around the edge. You just have to be very gentle because this is very delicate, but I just thought it might provide some fun contrast because I've got all the pink up there. So I used the green to cut my butterfly. And he's there, but he's not, you know, taking over the show. Now, my fingers are a little bit sticky. I will probably have to have a little play with that to get that down properly. Pardon me. And then we've got this cute little bee here, but I also cut out a little dragonfly because I thought that was a perfect blend for this. There we go. And he's a cute little dragonfly, and I'm going to pop that right up on the edge there. And there we go. Now, that's it. This one is very simple, but it's a definite sort of take on Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah's video. She used some large pieces and then a few little bits as trim. So that one I think anyone can manage as long as you're prepared to sit and do some fussy cutting. So that's our first one done. Now the second one, excuse me, is a little bit more elaborate. And I'll show you what I've been cutting out here. What I did, remove the little bits. The first thing I did was I roughly cut out these two floral bits. They were on the edge of one of the sheets. And I glued that down to some coffee dyed paper because I wanted to give this a little bit of strength. So then I did the fussy cutting because there was no way in the world I was fussy cutting it twice. So the aim of this one is we're going to use these two, and this is why I wanted them to be a little stronger, and we're actually going to place them down as a pocket. So we're going to start by doing the edges. Now, these are a little bit thicker. They're more heavy duty. So I use my favorite, this is my favorite glue, which is Tiger Glue. I get it at Spotlight here in Australia or at my local cheap shop. And I'm just using it around the edge. Honestly, this stuff is the best. It glues everything and anything. It dries completely clear. It stays wet just long enough that you can maneuver things around a little bit if you need to. But anything that's thicker, oh, honestly, it is the best thing ever. So we're just putting a thin, you don't need to use a lot of it either. And I used to use double-sided tape when I did this sort of thing. But where I live in Queensland, it is subtropical. It gets very, very hot and humid in summer. And I found that over time, double-sided tape just stops working. It's absolutely hopeless. So I prefer using something a little bit more heavy duty now when I am using things that have a bit of tooth, a bit of weight. Now, I just need to see, you get long enough that you can just shimmy things around a little bit. And I need to just try and get this right on both of those edges like that. And then we pop them down and they will not move. Then just to finish this pocket off, I just want to put a little bit of this glue along here. But I don't want to get too close to the edge and risk it sticking, and then of course we'd no longer have a pocket. So there we go. We've got a little bit of a pocket happening there. Now for deco, these two butterflies were on one of the collage sheets. So again, I saved them before I did my master boards. And I like these because they're sort of a little darker in colour. And I think that's good contrast for what's happening up top here. This one was not a full one. So we're going to just stick him right down on the edge there. And I have this other one, which we will pop up the top. And I'll show you in a minute why we are placing them up the top. So as you can see, I did quite a bit of fussy cutting. There we go. He can fly off as well. And I wanted to use another one of these cute little labels. So I have cut this one out and I'm going to do the same thing. Pop it on, hanging over the edge a little bit, and then we're going to trim that off just like I did the first time. And while we're here, let's just cut off these square corners like that, quick and easy. Voila, there we go. And that's that done, except no point having a pocket without something to put in it. So what I did, I grabbed one of there was a set of 4 of these journaling cards, and I've gone around the edge with my little Brilliance in Cosmic Copper. It has a beautiful copper shimmer. It's going to be very hard for you to see, but I've just gone around the edge there. I also backed this onto some coffee dyed paper so it all matches. And then I cut out another one of these cute little labels, and I used another piece of scrap for the back, and we're going to make a little tab for our tag here, and we'll stick that down at the top. So what I did, I picked the one that had sort of the lightest colouring on it. So again, we're trying to look for contrast because that's what helps give the eyes a place to rest. Contrast just makes things stand out. Bit more glue on there, and then pop this little scrap down on the back. There we go. Now we have a little pull tab on our journal card, and it slides beautifully into our pocket. So here's my 3 little butterflies. They're a lovely little, oh, hang on, has this actually, see now this is where you have to be careful when you play with glue. Did that, oh, it did, it stuck down a tiny little bit there. Must have spilled over. That's okay, because I would like that to go in a little bit further if it could. There we go. That's sort of how I wanted it. And that's the other one done. Very simple. Honestly, I think they look fabulous and they're not hard to do. You just have to be a little bit patient and do all the fussy cutting, but have a look at the result. Doesn't that just look fabulous? I think they are great. And so I have made these for my journal, and we are going to pick, look, a nice blank spot, pop that in there. I would actually pin this in, just use a clip and pop that in there, and have a look how fabulous it looks in my botanical journal. I love this. Let's pick another page that's a little plainer. Oh, like there. See, have a look. Oh, look at this. Even the colours match. Absolutely perfect. So a little paper clip, another little dangle or two, and have a look. Don't they look great? Normally you don't make journal cards quite this large, but I think they're fun and they look absolutely fabulous. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Just trying to show you that things can be simple, they can be easy. You don't have to have a lot of tools. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Just purchase some really pretty kits like these ones, and you can end up with some great things for your journal. So until next time, please stay safe and stay healthy. And if you are not already a subscriber to my channel, I would love it if you did join the family. I do paper crafting and paper planning videos, and plenty more of those coming up in the very near future. So thank you again to Rach and Bella Crafts for inviting me along. I hope you enjoyed this. Tried to come up with something that wasn't too difficult. And take care. Bye for now.